Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds. Today is a cEDH deck tech for our patron, Shane.
It's a commander tune-up. We're going to give you a sliver of hope to beat your opponents.
Don't try it.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. We're reaching out into cEDH a little bit. We do deck techs, budget stuff, non-budget stuff, competitive stuff, non-competitive stuff, top 10s, tier lists, ranking stuff, other stuff. If you like all the stuff we do, just consider subscribing. That's all.
And besides, you want to be subscribed to this channel because we're keeping Disclaimer Guy hostage until you subscribe.
He's actually still on vacation.
You
There's
can't
no
prove.
disclaimer. There's nothing to pause for.
You can't prove that.
I can.
Oh.
I got his postcards.
Oh, you're right.
And wow, what a week for Disclaimer Guy to go on vacation. Let's just say that. It is poorly timed, and it will be reflected in his performance review. If he would have sent some notice, I would have felt a little bit better about it.
Yeah. So this is a cEDH deck. The commander is the First Sliver. It's not a sliver deck, though. It's not even remotely close to a sliver deck. cEDH is a format that tends to revolve around a deck playing a specific combo in combo pieces, ways to find it, and interaction. So let's go over a quick one. What combo is the First Sliver?
Right, so the First Sliver, assuming cEDH, it's no holds barred, like play to win, nothing else. One of the main things people go for is Food Chain. Food Chain is 2 and a green for an enchantment. You can exile a creature to add an amount of mana of one color equal to its mana cost +1. That goes along with cards like Squee, the Immortal, Mist Hollow Griffin, and Eternal Scourge, which can be cast from exile. So you cast it for their mana cost. Food Chain's going to exile it for 1 plus their mana cost. Well, now you've just generated a mana of any color, and you can do it infinite times. Generate infinite, let's say you have Squee, generate infinite red mana, convert it into infinite mana of every color, cast the First Sliver now from your command zone infinite times. Commander text is relevant when you're working with infinites. And then now it triggers it cascade just on itself. There's no slivers. Every time you cast it, you get a free spell from your deck that costs 4 or less. That's everything except for like 2 cards. But it doesn't matter because you get infinite. So you draw your whole deck, and then you're going to win with Jace, Wielder of Mysteries or Thassa's Oracle. Means you have no cards left in your deck.
Yeah, you're probably going to go get something like the easiest thing, Demonic Consultation, which once you have everything set up on the field, you're just going to do that, name a card that's not in your deck, and you're going to just win.
Yeah, you just draw a card. That's all you got to do. Or play Thassa's Oracle, and you win. The deck, as most cEDH decks are, filled with tons of early interaction spells, creatures.
So we'll start with, I just want to let's list some of the quick interaction removal spells that we have in this deck. There's like Abrupt Decay type stuff.
Dovin's Veto, Spell Pierce, Silence is in here.
Yeah, those are the kind of things that you need in a deck like this. Then there's tons of free counters. We have Force of Will in here for sure.
Pact of Negation.
Yep, Pact of Negation, other ones. You need so much early interaction. A lot of times what can happen in cEDH, and this is like a common thing, it's going to be constantly trying to stop each other until someone can't stop somebody.
Right, yeah, we've dabbled a little in cEDH, nothing crazy, but we've played games and we've seen games, the usual is like, oh, games in on turn 2 to 4. Well, sometimes they go to like turn 8 because everyone stops everyone, and then it's weird top deck because no one's deck has the power to like draw do a thing out of nowhere. It's all these like tiny little increments. There's like exceptions like Ad Nauseum's insane.
Yeah, Ad Nauseum just basically we've written the games in these kind of decks. It's real bonkers.
But I've seen like if you get like let's say you take a cEDH deck in a board style with very few cards in hand, and you put someone's random like janky deck with like big splashy spells, like they might win.
They probably will win unless they happen to draw the combo pieces right in a row.
But obviously, heads up, starting from turn 1, the cEDH deck is going to destroy them.
Yes, on average, yes. They're just going to completely run away with the game.
It's weird. It's weird interactions.
It is completely strange. So let's talk about some of the highlights of this deck. This deck is a very cEDH deck. You're going to see a lot of the things you're going to see in every EDH deck. Like we said, Silence is one of them. You're going to see Mental Misstep. You're going to see Spell Pierce. These are cards you won't normally see when you sit down at a EDH table if it's not cEDH.
I will also say, sort of, if you not familiar with cEDH, proof that we don't play cEDH because we don't play any of this stuff. Like we are not into the metagaming, solving a certain deck, choosing our win cons before we choose commanders. Like we always choose commanders first. We play Mirror Landscape. That's a tap land.
Yeah. This is so The difference, we say we built 80 and 90% decks. The 10%, the difference between 90 and 100% deck is pretty crazy.
Right, it's not the same between 90 and 80. It's a weird system. Obviously, nobody's solved the power level conundrum, and we're not about to right now anyway. So, just kind of letting you know where we stand compared to all this stuff.
Yeah, so let's get highlights of the deck. Some cards that are, you're not going to see these anywhere else, really. A lot of them.
I don't think I've ever seen these anywhere else. It's Extract, Foresight, and Manipulate Fate. They search your library for cards and just exile them. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 3, and you draw a card. But we're going to take all of our stupid food chain creatures that we never actually want to cast from our hand. We don't want them to take up space in our hand. So it's Demonic Tutor, extra tutors for these creatures. And then as a counter, like another use for them once you already have one, or you got Squee in the graveyard, or you got Mist Hollow in exile, you can just take your opponent's win cons out of their deck. Those are cards I like, and there's not a lot of playable ones in Commander other than like Praetor's Grasp, but I like the idea of, oh, you only have 1 or 2 win cons? Well, they're gone, so I hope you got a backup plan.
Yeah, but you're usually going to use them on yourself. And if you've ever, but again, drawing your extra multiples is totally fine because now you're just going to go into, let's just say you're playing a mirror match that's sitting across from you, another First Sliver Food Chain deck. You go get their Food Chain, you put it in exile. Sure, they're going to have ways to get it back, like Pull from Eternity, which is 1 mana white instant, and you put a card from exile into its owner's graveyard. So that's one way.
It has to be face up.
It does have to be face up. You're right. So if it gets exiled face down by the Praetor's Grasp, you're not getting that bad boy back.
Ooh, man, Praetor's Grasp. You know, Shane, if you've got this meta, it's 4 sliver decks. Maybe you Praetor's Grasp them because it's also Demonic Tutor because that's probably the card you want to tutor for.
Yeah, that's true.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's actually pretty. That's just good. So otherwise, Food Chain's gonna end up in the graveyard. Noxus Revival. This is a Phyrexian green mana, which means you're gonna be paying 2 life because this is cEDH, and you're gonna be putting a card from your graveyard on the top of your library. Food Chain, whenever it ends up in there, most of the time. Yogg's Will, 2 and a black. All cards in your graveyard can be played this turn now.
Yeah, and then if they would go to the graveyard, then you exile them.
Yes, exactly. Ooh, card is good.
And Spicy Nerds Tech, the card that we play a ton of outside cEDH, and I've seen in a few cEDH lists, Savine's Reclamation is 2 and a white for a sorcery. You return a permanent, mana cost 3 less from your graveyard to play, and then you can flash back for 4 and a white, and if you do, you copy it, so you get 2 of them. This returns Food Chain. Also, if you don't have that, or you're doing other stuff, or you want to, obviously have your spells do other things, you can just get back a fetch land, or a Stax piece, or a Mana Dork, or whatever, Dark Confidant.
Yeah, exactly. Lots of things. So what do we change? We're just going to start with the cuts, and then we're going to go into our adds. We're going to tell you what we cut and what we add from this deck. First one, Mox Opal. There was like 6 or 7 artifacts. Mox Opal obviously is not good enough when you only have 6 or 7 artifacts.
I will say, we are not cEDH professionals. We did our best. You came with a pretty tuned cEDH deck, so we're not going to have 20, 30 cuts for you. We got 11 here. I think we made reasonable decisions. If not, just don't.
We did our very best for you, Shane. We went into this with ahead of okay, we know high power EDH. cEDH is not, it's as BZ said, really within our wheelhouse, but we can still do it. We're going to show you how awesome we are. Next, Chromatic Lantern. This is just, to me, when I look at a cEDH, I just don't see us as a cEDH card at all.
Yeah, it feels like it's a mana fixer, but we don't need to fix mana because our mana is perfect because we play 10 fetch lands and all the duels and even cards that we added. Next up is Replenish. Next up for the cuts. It's 3 and a white for a sorcery. Return all enchantments from your graveyard to your play. We don't really have many. Mainly it's for a Food Chain. That just seems expensive. And it's a sorcery speed, so I figure, hey, maybe we can trim 1 mana and put Savine's Reclamation, which can return anything. And then it can also be cast from the graveyard if you discard it or cast it earlier or whatever.
Yeah, so you want to return, you only want to return basically one thing at a time. You're not going to have 3-4 enchantments you want to get back, and therefore just put Savine's Reclamation because it has much more versatility that you can't get from a replenish. Next, Croson Grip. I understand wanting the split second to stop Food Chain or something.
Food Chain's mana ability.
Well, yeah, but if they only have one creature, they have to cast the creature.
Yeah, it needs to have flash, right? Then they can't do that. They can't put spells or abilities on the stack. So it stops the stuff, but it's really expensive. So maybe you just want Nature's Claim instead. We didn't add Nature's Claim instead, but we cut it because it seems a little pricey.
Yeah, a lot of times you're just going to stop. You're going to stop, what's it called on the stack? You're just going to stop food. If you're playing against a Food Chain deck, you're going to stop that kind of thing on the stack.
Yeah, you interact with it on the stack or maybe just try to outrace them. Next is Idyllic Tutor. Again, this stuff just kind of seems pricey. 3-mana sorcery speed, like that's almost everything we cut is like 3-mana sorcery speed. It does tutor for Food Chain, but it's a little slow.
Yeah, there's Demonic Tutor. What's the white one that puts it on top? Enlightened Tutor.
I almost said Idyllic
Vampiric Tutor. There's other tutors. I mean, we have plenty of tutors. It's not like this deck is lacking in tutors in any way. Plus, something in a deck like this, the card Demonic Consultation is pretty insane because you just name Food Chain on that, and you just go get Food Chain, and you most likely exile one of your creatures that you want exiled. That card works wonders. It's just a tutor that can get both your pieces.
Or if you just win you the game, if you name a card not in your deck, exile your whole deck and play Thassa's Oracle. That's why cards like Pull from Eternity are in there, because Demonic Consultation's like, okay, exile 7 or 8 cards now, and then you're like, oh, I hit my Food Chain. Well, now I can get it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What you were saying about what? I forgot. Let's move on to the next one. I didn't want to say anything anyway.
Okay.
We cut Laboratory Maniac because there is Thassa's Oracle and there is Jace Wheeler Mysteries. You don't need that much redundancy. I understand. So Thassa's Oracle with Demonic Consultation works. So like that's something you want, and same thing with Jace. Those both. So if you Jace is tough because Jace can be removed in response. But if you play Thassa's Oracle, that ability's in the stack, and you cast Demonic Consultation, now Demonic Consultation demands an answer.
Yeah.
Because you're going to win because there's going to be 0 cards in your deck. It doesn't matter if they wipe your board now.
Don't matter. I'm basically cut one. Whatever one's worse for you between Jace and Labman. We're guessing Labman's the worst one. He has no extra frills on him. Well, you like in one of those situations, I need cards and I have mana. Well, you can play Jace and just draw a card.
Yeah, and but what I was also saying is if you feel like your opponent, if you have Labman and Demonic Consultation, you don't just win. You have to untap now or draw a card.
You gotta do stuff.
But if you have Jace, you plus Jace, the plus is on the stack, and then you do Consultation. Now Jace demands an answer.
Right.
Or the Demonic Consultation demands an answer.
And you can back it up. Hopefully you're not just going for that naked.
Yeah, I mean, once in the blue moon you're going to go for it naked, but not too often.
Just like real life.
Ugh.
Eternal Witness. It's a way to get back Food Chain, or whatever, obviously. But it's 3-mana sorcery speed. So, hey, I think we're at least upping the speed of your deck. That's definitely something we're doing. We're lowering the average CMC.
Yeah, exactly. Next, we got 4 lands. We went down. cEDH decks are very tight on lands. They will easily keep 2 mana hands. Most EDH decks, they're like, 2 mana, this is rough. But you go into cEDH, you're like 2 mana, 5 castable spells with that 2 mana. I'll take it.
We'll take into account that if we're playing Moxen and Mana Rocks that are just ridiculous, like Mana Crypt, those count as lands, essentially.
Yeah. So, Hall of Heliod's Generosity was the first one we cut. It's another way to get back Food Chain. This is unnecessary, we feel. You're trying to pretend the way your deck is going to go. You're going to try to end the game very, very early. And something like Hall of Heliod's Generosity, it's a late game, grindy type card.
It feels slow, maybe a little optimistic, I think, with what you'll actually be able to pull off. And if you're in a 5-color deck, it doesn't really produce any mana at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. That's really true. And the next 3 are all shock lands. We cut the Mardu shock lands, Sacred Foundry, Blood Crypt, and Godless Shrine. We cut all 3 of those because Mardu's the least represented colors that you need. Green is the most, blue is the second most, and like those colors are the colors you really, really, really need. And besides anything, there's still plenty of shocks, and there's some duels in here.
Yeah, so we're not missing these.
Yeah, you're not going to miss these because not often are you going to be going to get a Blood Crypt or a Godless Shrine.
Especially when you see what we replaced them with.
Yes, exactly. So now these are our ads. This is what we threw into the deck after we took out those cards. So this is an easy one for one. Mox Opal, we made it Chrome Mox. You don't care about card disadvantage that much because your whole goal is for your 7 cards that you start with to add up to a win in some way. And that's much more likely if you can just have a free mana.
You ready for this one? Chrome Mox, Exile, Mist Hollow Griffin.
I didn't even think about that. That's so good.
Yeah, we just broke cEDH.
Oh, no.
We just broke it right now.
I am sure a ton of people have thought of that before.
I promise you no other content creator has ever had that idea.
He's a liar and a fiend. Siphon's Reclamation, we already talked about why that's in the deck. Force Negation, you want all the free interaction you can get. I understand on your turn, this isn't going to protect your combo, but you, in cEDH, you need to also be just as focused on stopping their combos because every single player is trying to do what you're doing, go off as fast as they can and win. So Force Negation, I think, is pretty much just a must-have in cEDH.
Redundancy. I was like, hey, Joe, what about the one that's free if you have your commander? I don't know. That's probably a good cEDH card. Not in this deck, though. You just play your commander when you're about to win, and almost never before.
Yeah, your commander is a fallback.
It's rarely in play, also. If you're trying to, like, you sack it for mana, and now if you're trying to do other stuff, you're cascading, or you're playing spells from your hand, they can just counter it, and you don't have the free counter up.
That's another thing that's very good about this as your commander, too, because it is a great fallback. It is a 5 mana, get a spell from your deck. So basically, it's play the next spell in your deck, except for Ad Nauseam.
Yeah, Ad Nauseam and Force Will, I think, are pretty much the only ones you're not casting.
Yeah, so it's like play the next spell that is going to be drawn by you. It's like, well, that's good, especially when I've depleted all my resources to go all into my combo and maybe didn't get there. That's going to happen.
Creatures be tiny in cEDH. 5/5 can rumble.
Yeah, 5/5 puts up its dukes.
I remember, listening in on some metagame discussion, and they were like, "Oh man, we gotta be able to block Tymna." It's like Tymna's a 3-mana 2/2. We're like struggling to block that thing. Okay,
Can't block a 2/2.
it's tough. It's got lifelink. Next is Dockside Extortionist. Saw this in a couple lists. We do our homework a little bit. Dockside Extortionist just kind of seems like a 2-mana investment. Hey, makes 4 Lotus Petals you can use later.
I don't even. In cEDH, this easily makes 5, 6, 7, 8 because everybody
I'll say guaranteed 2 to 3.
well, that's a guarantee. A lot of cEDH decks are like a lot of them. Like if your combo isn't this combo, this one is like one of the least where you're going to see the least artifacts. cEDH decks sometimes have 30 artifacts and up because they're just like they're going to go off with like that kind of stuff.
Plus, like there's a lot of hate pieces. There's going to be Stony Silences flying around.
Yep.
There's going to be Mystic Remora, Rhystic Studies, Cursed Totems, and then make sure probably get rid of that Stony Silence.
Okay, I'm glad
They're going to be around. Like, don't tell me they're not going to be around.
I'm agreeing with you. I was just waiting to see if you were
It's
going.
not like I'll still play it into it. That'd be even less of a threat. Get my treasures, then blow it up after.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Yeah, that's true. Mystic Remora, this card's amazing. It's just a 1 mana. You get to draw in cEDH a bunch of cards. No one can ever pay for this, and everyone wants to play out their mana rocks, their quick stuff. Oh, this card is great.
Not wants to. They have to if they want to play the game. I'm not confident on many things, but I'm confident this card needs to be in the deck.
I'm not confident. Are you talking about the next one?
No, I'm talking about Mystic Remora.
I am talking about the next one. I'm not confident on many things, but I am confident the next card needs to be in the deck. Fel Summer is a freaking house. I don't even know what else to say. This card is so silly.
What's it do?
This is a 1 mana instant, and if your opponents have cast a blue or black spell this turn, you draw a card. Your permanents have hexproof from blue and black, and your spells can't be countered. This card's insane.
Yeah, whether or not they've cast a blue or black spell, your spells for the rest of the turn cannot be countered. So it's proactive.
Yep.
It's reactive. It's a cantrip. It can be cryptic command if you counter draw, like, oh, they're trying to counter your spell. Nope. Draw a card can't be countered. Waste your whole thing.
It's absolutely crazy. This card is in cEDH where things can be won by the tiniest little advantages. This card can create a huge advantage instead of a tiny one.
For a small mana. Also, everyone's playing blue. Guaranteed.
And it cantrips.
Yeah, totally primo card. Next is less primo, more us looking at the deck, seeing what you might want. Angel's Grace. It's 1 mana. It's white mana instant. It's got split second, so no one's countering it. You can't lose a game this turn. If your life total goes to less than 1, goes to 1.
So, what it is with this card is this is just another combo piece essentially. So, if you have Angel's Grace, if Ad Nauseam's already in the deck, it's already a great card. It's gonna be great a lot of the time. But if you add Angel's Grace to that, then now this is just another combo. This is another 2-card combo. If you have a tutor and an Ad Nauseam in your hand, you can just say, "Well, I'll just win this way."
Yeah, try to do this. Check that with counter magic. Angel's Grace. There's probably some other ways that you can use it, like defensively. Maybe it stops something. There's so many. Like, cEDH is all of these high-powered, amazing interaction cards, and then there's like 7 or 8 cards that have like you look at them and you're like, this card has no text,
Yeah.
but it's like aggressive combo-y type stuff.
This will stop us. I mean, if we go off on our turn and someone casts an Angel's Grace, that's just gonna stop us because now we can't win for the rest of the turn.
Yeah, so like a Thassa's Oracle trigger that doesn't trigger multiple times. You got to find another way to do it, and also your deck's empty.
You have to find another way to do it. Your deck's empty, and now you have to get back to your turn after depleting a lot of resources.
Yeah, with Thassa's Oracle, you need a Jason play. If you have a Jason play, you don't care because you can just cantrip on someone else's turn. But then, yeah, if you miss your Oracle trigger, now you can't win. Trigger doesn't do anything. Your deck is empty or almost empty. You're really gonna have to put something together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, so Angel's Grace can just be used as this weird defensive card in a lot of situations. A lot of combos just have a lot of or work to just say win the game. That I win, you lose, or they're gonna reduce your life total. That's like the two ways to win in cEDH. Well, if we just stop them from reducing our life total, then we'll go to 1, we'll untap, and we'll try and do our thing.
Yeah, I don't know how much, maybe I don't know how much like Aetherflux Reservoiring is going on, or things where they can go like, I'm going to kill you, but if you can stop them on their turn from doing that, you at least get an untap to maybe interact more, and then like you could still be dead to infinite stuff, but then maybe you can cast spells in response and try it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, this card is, again, there's a 2-card combo, and it has a lot of situations where it's just going to be something else. It's going to be this, it's like you said, a weird defensive spell that just kind of stops someone from winning for a turn.
That's like silence. That's kind of like silence. You can use it on offense or defense. Next, Gitaxian Probe. What if your deck was 1 less card for no cost, and you got a ton of information when you cast the spell? How much gravy even is that?
That's called a free roll.
Yeah, it is literally a free roll. I think it should be in the deck, especially since you're also looking for random blue cards to pitch to the forces, and Probe just helps up your number as well. Not even being a card in your deck, giving you a ton of information for free.
Yeah, I mean, Gitaxian Probe is very good. I imagine that if I focused down on cEDH and I was building a blue deck, which most decks are blue because cEDH loves them some blue, Gitaxian Probe would be like in all my decks. I can't imagine it wouldn't.
It would be difficult for me to cut it because I love the card, and because, can this person stop me? Let me find out real quick.
Yeah, exactly. Like, 2 people might deplete their resources on each other, stopping each other, and then you might be you versus like this guy, and you're like, well, they've got like 2 cards in hand. You've got 6. Let me see your hand.
Yeah, and that might be worth countering to withhold the information, but if they only have 1 counter, what are they supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly. It's great.
Weird card. Next, what are the lands we added?
This is easy. These are easy lands. You're playing a 5-color deck. City of Brass, Mana Confluence, the same thing. You make 1 mana, 1 deals damage to you, 1 makes you, or really both deal damage to you, but 1 is, you can respond to 1.
No, Mana Confluence is Pale Life. City of Brass deals 1 damage to you.
I'm sorry.
Nerd.
They're both the same. They both deal 1 damage to you, essentially, when you tap it and you get a mana of any color. Both very good in EDH. You start at 40 life.
And the only time we've ever added Command Tower to a deck, I think.
Yeah, this is strange. I was like, it was really weird to me that you didn't put Command Tower. I don't know if it was an oversight or if you thought you didn't need it. It's such a free roll, man. It's 5 color. It's a rainbow land, and there's not even a downside to this thing.
No, it's in the deck. Other lands to consider, you know your mana base better than us. You can also consider like Reflecting Pool that has the activated abilities of all your lands. Maybe even like Exotic Orchard. I don't know if that one sees as much play, but there's multiple other ones you can consider.
Yeah. But that's the video. This deck was super good. I mean, it came into us. It was a cEDH deck, and we did what we could to make it better. We're by no means cEDH experts, but we've done our best. And I think it looks like we definitely lowered the curve. I mean, everything we added, the highest is 3 CMC, and we cut a lot of 3 MC cards.
We gave it the coronavirus treatment. We flattened the curve. I don't know.
That's not what we did.
Sure, whatever.
That's not how you build a deck. You don't flatten the curve. That'd be terrible.
There's now 100 lands in this deck.
No,
there is no curve.
If you flatten the curve, we would have as many 1-drops as you choose 7-drops.
Yeah,
that sounds awful.
Or none of all. Nailed it.
Don't flatten the curve for your EDH deck.
So basically, everything what I just said was wrong / potentially inappropriate.
Yeah, good for BZ.
Nailed it.
Special shout outs to all of our patrons. We love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. You guys are awesome. You're the poopy babies, and you help support us and make this channel really keep going. Shane McHenry, special shout outs to you. You've been extra supportive. Everyone's supportive, but Shane McHenry, you're getting a tune up. Thanks for all the support.
Yeah, want to know what you think about this one, so I'm looking forward to your comment either in the Discord with all our fans or the comment section on YouTube. Also, you can go check out this deck list on TCG Player. Don't know if I would recommend buying it because that's a lot of monies, but you can buy whatever you want through the link, and then we get a kickback on the order. I was just checking the stats. That really helps us, turns out, on the YouTube channel. So
yeah,
you guys can use that money.
You guys are literally helping us out so much. You guys love Magic. I mean, that's why you're sitting here watching 2 idiots talk about Magic. You must really love Magic. So when you buy cards, you're going to buy cards. If you're buying them online, please use that link. It helps so much. It's insane, actually.
It's more of a free roll than Gitaxian Probe.
Yeah. And we have merch now, some cool looking shirts. Ours are in the mail. They're on their way, and they're going to be so cool. I can't wait to get them. It's shipped. It did ship.
It's shipped. We're going to be wearing them 2 more things before we go to our tidbit. This is our 50th Commander tune-up. I just thought that was cool.
It is cool.
We got all the way to 50.
And if whoever ends up with number 100, I don't know what we're gonna do special, but if you end up being the number 100, I'm gonna do something special for that. I don't know.
Maybe we'll pull them in for an interview. Have them describe the deck. That might be something cool we can do.
Okay, yeah, we're gonna figure out something cool to do. We're also, I just want to talk about this, on our way, if you can't get enough of me, and sometimes never be easy.
Yeah, do that.
I stream on Twitch 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time during the weekdays, and most Saturday nights. Not this Saturday night. Wait, not last Saturday night. Shut up! Shut up!
Embarrassing.
Shut up! I'm so embarrassed.
Humiliated.
I'm so humiliated. What was I gonna say?
Drunk stream? I don't know. Is that what you do?
No. We're done.
Saturdays.
Yeah,
Saturdays I do, and then you never finish your stuff.
I do drunk streams usually, but not this. But not one of the Saturdays.
Okay, sometimes.
In the past month, we have actually just been completely skyrocketing in subs. The past month, 2 months, really good. We're on the hot road to 10K, and we are going to figure out a special video for 10K. If you have any ideas for that, please let us know in the comments, because I would love to hear your guys' ideas. We're doing something special. My favorite suggestion so far, and I don't think we're actually going to do this, but it was funny. We take cards that we hate, we put them on the table, and we yell at them.
Just actually yell at them?
Yeah, I thought it was stupid.
Okay.
So stupid it was funny. Okay.
I mean, if that's not a segue into our tidbit,
yeah,
I don't know what is.
So we got tweeted at. Well, not at us. It did not call us out by name, specifically the tweet, but it was calling out one of our videos.
Guess which one?
It was the most recent one, or not even the most recent one. It was from Wednesday now. Why don't you do a little bit? You can probably explain it more articulated than me, and then I can help us.
I was more in the fray of things anyway. But our video, 20 unplayable commander cards, kind of got a bunch of hate in terms of like the YouTube comments were a little like divided, let's say, and then there's some talk on Twitter of was this a good idea? Could this have been done better? How did you feel about it? Like, now we know all that stuff, so let's say, like, do we think all of the complaints were reasonable? Would we do anything different? Like, what do you have to say about it?
Okay, so I want to start here. The person who tweeted at us, I'm not going to call anyone out by name. I'm not going to call them. The person who tweeted at us, they skipped the disclaimer in the beginning.
Or at least we're worried that other people would. I'm not exactly sure.
They just wanted to see the list. And like she even said that she believed people would just skip the list, which some people will, which is fine. But we put disclaimers in that we were specifically talking about 80 to 90% power level. We put disclaimers in that if you think a card is fun, we can never argue with that. That if you love a card, you think it's cool, you love its flavor, we can never argue with that. And we support you playing those cards. I love Grave Titan. I think that card is so cool. I'll probably still end up putting it in a deck or two, even though I think from a standpoint of power, which was what we were talking about for the video, I would not put that in. Grave Titan is so cool. It's a giant that has zombies pouring out of his guts. This is one of the coolest cards in Magic.
Yeah, I think maybe one thing we could have done a little bit better is just, we didn't do it in the video, but really bring home the idea that we're never ever going to hate on people for playing Magic cards ever. We're separating you from the card you may or may not be playing. And it really just boils down to, a lot of the comments boil down to, hey, you don't like this card, but I like this card. And it's like, that's totally fine. You don't even have to listen to us at all. We are just offering advice, suggestions, and putting it in this friendly, self-aware kind of clickbaity, rant.
Yes, again, this isn't calling out anyone individually, but it felt like a lot of people felt like they were personally attacked over this.
Sorry.
That was not our goal. When we say we think Rampaging Baloth is unplayable, we're not attacking you for playing Rampaging Baloth. We're saying in our power level, and if we were building a deck at our power level, we would not put Rampaging Baloth in. And I get it. People love cards, and sometimes people really relate with cards.
Yeah, totally.
And so they connect with them, and they start to conflate the idea that if we're insulting the card, we're insulting them, which is not the case.
No, totally not. Yep. So just to sum it up, not trying to insult anybody. Totally okay if we disagree on cards, even if the simplest thing, we say it's unplayable, and you go, no, it's not. You have the edge on us. We can and will not force you to put anything in your deck or take it out of decks. We maybe could have offered a bit more descriptions. I definitely did that in the comments more. If we ever do this again, we'll toss in some more examples of.
And I want to own something right now. intentionally use an extremely clickbait title. Yeah, we did. Oh, sue us. I mean, it is something that everybody does. And if you have a problem with clickbait titles, and I understand maybe being a little mad at us, but we did. We used a clickbait title. The title was to make people say, unplayable? Well, I have to watch this. That was our goal.
Well, let me edit that a little bit. So the word clickbait, in at least how I define it, right? Clickbait implies you're not getting what you expected, right? Like a fish wants to eat something, but it's bait. Like, I'm just gonna kill you. Like it implies drawing you in for the content you didn't ask for. So if you click on a video that says 20 unplayable cards, and you obviously want to know what those are, we give you cards that we genuinely think, our honest opinion, they are unplayable. So in a sense, like, I'm not baiting anybody. I'm trying to draw you in to click the video, but everyone's trying to do that. So the word clickbait is just a little weird for me.
Yeah, and I understand that completely. Yeah, but like I said, we did make the title sound very...
It was sensational.
Sensational.
It was silly.
It was silly.
Like, I went literally, like, obviously they're not literally.
The only thing about the tweet I do want to say, before we end this video, because this is a rant.
Longest tidbit ever.
Well, the one thing about that I do want to say, obviously there's no hard feelings toward her at all. Or anyone who disagreed with us or anything. There's no hard feelings toward anybody. You're entitled to your opinion. We're entitled to our opinion. And I have no problem with you having a completely different opinion on Commander. Though, it's the end of the tweet said that this kind of content promotes pub stomping and tryhards. Two things. One, we have multiple times in this channel spoke out against pub stomping.
Don't do it.
We think it is the most horrible, one of the worst things you can do. We literally did a tier list ranking what we call stereotypes. Pub stompers were literally in what we call poop tier. So take that into consideration. And I don't know what she meant by tryhards, but I don't think there's anything wrong with being, quote unquote, a tryhard for EDH. As long as you don't when you play a game of EDH, if everything stays in the game of EDH, it doesn't, if there's no out of world consequences put into that game of EDH, if you're trying hard, go for it.
Yeah, play to win all you want. I will never stop someone from playing to win. If you're going to be a jerk about it, obviously be respectful to each other. I mean, I don't know if we have anything else to say.
Yeah.
We said it all already.
Yeah, we just wanted to say all that just to get it out in the open.
If anyone was wondering, these are our thoughts, probably not going to comment on it again because it's a video we made.
There's no need to. Feel free to ask. If you send us if you DM us on Twitter or add us on Twitter, we'll probably talk to you there too.
We'll literally clarify anything with anyone. I have no problem talking about anything, really.
Yeah, but we have no problem talking about our opinions and opening up about why we said what we said. I mean, not like we said anything bad. It does... the way we're talking about it does sound like we said something like
we hurt somebody.
We hurt somebody. But
anyway, we gotta end this video.
We did hurt Grave Titan.
And I'd do it again too.
Peace out, Tribe Scout. We think Sakura Tribe Scout's playable.